So here you are, 2017, and the results are out, and you
So
Okay. Do you sometimes sit and ask yourself, why did I get
Not yet.
Okay.
You could help me do that. But
Probably
I'll definitely be looking towards sharing my memoirs, because I think and I believe that by sharing them, I should be able to encourage lots of people out there.
So there you have it, from Linda Marie Wachuma. Are you on Facebook? We can get you through your online platforms.
Linda Marie Wachuma on Facebook, at Linda Shuma on Twitter, and that is just about it. No Instagram for me. I'm not yet too up to the days.
Okay. And of course, you can follow us at Gillytix Media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My name is Solomon Zuli. This is Made in Mombasa. Today, we sat down with Linda Marie Wachuma, who was the Deputy Governor for Hassan Omar Sarai through the Wiper ticket, vying for the gubernatorial seat in 2017. Such an amazing story. See you next time on Made in Mombasa. This is Gillytix Media, and my name is Solomon Zuli. Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda, for your time.
Asante sana.
Asante.